I don't fetch water.
Is it it?
I don't fetch water.
You need wine? Eh? Anybody will see this, I don't fetch water, I would think is one O.B. Jackson's daughter.
Tony proposed to Eve so early in their relationship, and she accepted it. Eve went home happy and told Halima the great news about the proposal. Tony also told his friend about the good news and revealed how his plans is coming together very well. Halima was happy for her friend but was also worried why the proposal came early. Eve told her to stop worrying and that Tony loves her. Halima accepted that and make preparations for the wedding.
Yeah? You don't fetch water? See the bathroom, see your water.
Huh?
Energy.
Eve and Halima went to visit Tony just when they wanted to enter. They heard the boys' conversation about Tony just wanting to get married to Eve because of her wealth. Eve and Halima were so shocked about this revelation and wanted to leave. But they entered and Tony introduced Eve to the boy as the girl he is about to wed. The boys were happy knowing that Eve is rich and their friend Tony is about to get rich as well.
You want me to enter that place and have my bath? It's even open, see?
Use that plank cover, no they give me headache.
Eve got home and started crying about how she was about to be love scammed by Tony. Halima comforted Eve and came up with a plan. Now the plan is for Eve to act poor as Halima act as the rich person. Tony visited Eve and there was chaos happening. Halima was chasing Eve out of her house and Eve too had no place to go. Tony left confused about how Eve is not having money or own the mansion.
How much did you use in preparing this food?
16,300.
$16,300.
Tony was just thinking about the whole situation, how Eve is not as rich as he thought. Next day, Tony received a call from Eve and told him Halima can't house her anymore. So she will be leaving Lagos to Abuja to hustle with her life before they can continue with their marriage. Tony was in a state of confusion and asked her to meet her to be sure of her situation. They met and Tony was shocked. Tony now took Eve to his godniece, now confessed that he is actually poor. Eve and Tony live for a couple of weeks and they have had fights and misunderstandings during these weeks. Eve meet up with Halima and explained that Tony is actually and truly poor, for that she can't continue to live with him and wants to expose everything and end it all. Halima reminds her Eve that she loves Tiny and wants to know the reason they started this plan, so she needs to continue until they get the results from this plan they took.
But I don't have fridge here. Where did you store the rest?
It's not much. I just made little. It's just left with small in the pot.
Eve went back Tony and as they lived together, chaos upon chaos started. Remember, Eve is actually very rich and she doesn't know anything about poor people or poor living. Eve was fighting with the co-tenants about bathroom, fetching water with Tony. How to on gas stove was a problem. Eve follows Tony to his work side. Tony and Eve working together as Tony realizes Eve doesn't know how to cook.
You use 16,300 to prepare food that we're going to eat for one day. As what now? What do you mean? Is from where to where?
Eve now asked Tony about his business and his plans to elevate his business. They discussed it and they planned how to elevate it. Eve continued to support his business. More fighting happens in the house. Tony and Eve walking back from Pam's, they fought because Eve used all their profits to cook soup. The soup had a lot of meat because as a rich lady, that's how they eat. And Tony was not having it any all. Tony and Eve started bonding more as they reminisce about how they met and chatting about everything.
Is that why you're shouting? Just because of 16,300 naira?
You're calling 16,300 because? You're calling it just?
Tony, see, all we've been eating in this house is poverty-infected food. Please, I don't want to suffer from malnutrition.
Eve went home to meet Halima to inform her about current situation. Eve claims she is ready to tell Tony the truth and Halima to her to wait, Halima Tellin came up with another plan to entice him with money and cars since that was what he wanted initially. Halima hijacked Tony on his way to work and made a sweet proposal to him. Halima told him she loved him more than Eve does, and if he accepts his proposal, she will give him car and money to start a new profitable business. Tony rejects the proposal and told Halima that he has grown to love Eve and he believes they can grow together financially. Tony got home and reported Halima advances at him to Eve. He warned Eve that Halima is a bad friend and needs to stay away from her. Tony make a promise to Eve that his business he is building will yield good results soon. Eve then told him she is happy to have know all this and that she will take him somewhere tomorrow. Eve took Tony to her house and Tony was shocked to be back to the same house that he thinks belongs to Halima. Eve now reveals to him that the house actually belongs her and Halima is her assistant. They came with this plan to act poor since they heard about his own plan to marry her because of her money. So the plan is to know if the love was real or fake because of her money. They also reveal the plan of Halima enticing him with money and car was a plan. Tony kneeled down and apologizes to Eve that he has now grown to love her. He wanted money before, but now love is what he actually finds attractive about her. Eve then promised to help him get a job with his friends and elevate his business. Eve successfully linked Tony and his friend up on their business and they got the business deal. Which means life is good after a few months. Tony now has money. Tony proposed to Eve again, but this time around genuinely because the first one was for money. Now it is for true love. Eve was ready to risk it as well, so she accepted the proposal for the second time as well. Halima was happy for her friend and was proud of Tony. According to Halima, she believes Tony now loves her boss and nothing can go wrong now, and she is sure of that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel for more Nollywood movie recap.